how odd. I don't even know if you guys can hear that. I'm sorry if you can. I'm sorry if audio is picking that up. Hey guys. I have notes in an actual book and I don't have to just keep looking over at my laptop for information, which is good. I can't remember what I was looking up, but I was looking up something and I found this lady called Big Nose Kate. I think I was trying to type in BFG, but I accidentally clicked on the I. That doesn't make sense on the keyboard. I can't remember what I was trying to type in. I thought she was like a murderer or serial killer or something, but she is not any of those things, but she is a very interesting lady. I am sorry if I butcher any of these names, by the way. Big Nose Kate was born on November 9th, 1849 in Erzsébet in what was then the Kingdom of Hungary. She was born as Mary Catherine Horony and was the second daughter to Hungarian physician and teacher Mihály Horony and Katalin Baldassar. In 1860, Dr. Horony and his second wife, with his children, left Hungary for America, arriving in New York City. They all settled in a mainly German area of Davenport, Iowa in 1862. This was when Kate would have been 13, like ish. 1865, both the dad and stepmom died within a month of each other, leaving all their children with their brother-in-law until 1870, when they were placed in the care of attorney Otto Smith. At the age of 16, Kate ran away from her foster home and stowed away on a riverboat bound for St. Louis, Missouri. She later claimed that while living in St. Louis, she married a dentist called Silas Melvin, whom she had a son with, but both later died of yellow fever. Although records do report a Silas Melvin being alive during this time, it was reported he was married to a steamship's captain's daughter named Mary Bust. In 1869, she is recorded as working as a prostitute for Madame Blanche Tribole in St. Louis, later in 1874 being fired for working as a sporting woman in a sporting house, i.e. a prostitute in a brothel. No, I'm so sorry. I misread. Yeah, it has his name. I don't even know if you can see it or if it's the right way. But it says Holiday an American, but I misread it as Holiday Gurun because I am bad at writing. In 1877, she met Doc Holliday, who was an American gambler, gunfighter, and dentist. The couple registered as Mr. and Mrs. J.H. Holliday at Deacon Cox's boarding house. Although they had their name done and stuff, they actually later got married in Valdosta, Georgia. Doc opened a dental practice by day, but spent most of his free time gambling and drinking. The two would fight regularly and sometimes violently, but would make up eventually. They moved around a few times, around America, around the areas and stuff, until they settled in Las Vegas for a few years. Holliday was a dentist during the day, and he ran a salon by night. Kate occasionally worked at a dance hall in Santa Fe. According to Kate, they would meet up with Wyatt Earp. He was an Old West lawman and gambler, and his brothers, on their way to the Arizona territory, he tried to persuade them to move to Tombstone. Doc and Kate parted ways for a short time when she moved to Arizona, however they reunited when he joined her in Tombstone. On March 15th, 1881, 3 cowboys attempted to rob Robert Kinnear and Company's stagecoach, during which the driver and passenger were killed. Bill Leonard was one of the implicated men during the robbery, who had become good friends with Doc. After this, one of the times Kate and Doc had a fight, County Sheriff Johnny Brehan and County Supervisor Milt Joyce decided to exploit the situation and plied Kate with alcohol, suggesting to her to get even with Doc. She signed an affidavit She signed a form basically implicating Doc in the murder and robbery, which the cowboys did, which he didn't do, but they wanted to arrest someone, to which they then arrested him because it was written down. He was released soon after, however, due to other evidence for him, such as him not being there, being one of them, and only being friends with one of the people, but not actually knowing anything about it. After Doc's release, he gave money to Kate, I assume to make her leave, to which she did for a few months, but later returned to Tombstone in October of the same year, though she was literally gone for like 3 months. On October 20th, 1881, one of the Earp brothers asked Doc for assistance in helping him deal with the cowboys, assumed the ones who committed the previous robbery, as they had threatened to kill the Earp brothers. Despite them not wanting her to join them, Kate would go with them. One of the Earp brothers noticed that although being disarmed earlier that day due to violation of gun laws, the cowboys still had weapons. When asked to drop the weapons, 2 of the cowboys drew and cocked their guns. Drew. Gunfire between the groups took place for around 30 seconds. This led to 3 fatalities, who were all cowboys, and 2 wounded, which I think were a mixture of cowboys and the Earp brothers. Although it is believed Kate didn't see the shooting, she was able to describe some of the minor details surrounding the shooting, such as one of the cowboys having a bandage on his head from when he got pistol whipped earlier that day. After the gunfight, Kate and Doc went their separate ways. Although many believe that they still used to meet up in a friendly and possibly a romantic way, but there isn't actually any proof of that. People just assume that they carried on meeting up. After Doc's death in 1887, Kate went on to marry Irish blacksmith George Cummings in 1890. They moved to Bisbee, Arizona, where she briefly ran a bakery. After a while, Cummings became an abusive alcoholic and they separated. Cummings would later commit suicide in 1915. In 1900, Kate moved and worked as a housekeeper for John and Lulu Rath, who were owners of the Cochise Hotel. Whilst working there, she met a man named John J. Howard. Whilst working there, she met a man named John J. Howard, who she eventually became his housekeeper. In 1930, Howard dies, and Kate was the executive. In 1930, Howard dies, and Kate was the executrix of his estate. Shortly after this, she contacted his only daughter to settle the inheritance. I think she was like, no, I'm not the person for this. Like, this isn't my stuff. I just worked as a housekeeper. I believe ended up giving her the estate, or was like, we'll go half and half or something like that, but she managed to sort it out. In 1931, Kate, who was 80 years old at the time, contacted her longtime friend George Hunt and applied for admittance to the Arizona Pioneers Home in Prescott, Arizona. It took 6 months to be admitted due to the home having a requirement that residents must be an American citizen. She was eventually admitted after 6 months, and she was one of the first female residents of the home. On November 2nd, 1940, 7 days before her 91st birthday, Kate died of myoclonic myocardial insufficiency, a condition she started to show symptoms for the day before her death. Myocardial insufficiency is, I believe, the lack of blood flow to the brain or the heart, I think. Her death certificate also states she suffered from coronary artery disease and advanced arteriosclerosis, which I believe are also things to do with the blood and not proper blood circulation. Kate was buried in November 6th, 1940 in the Arizona Pioneers Home Cemetery in Prescott, Arizona. Another interesting fact about her that I didn't write down, but I really should have because I think it's very interesting, is the gunfight that took place was meant to be one of the most typical cowboyish and intense gunfights that happened in America, which she was a part of, basically. It's also not known whether or not any of the housekeepers and her employers knew about her kind of odd past before they hired her. Anyway, this is the video. Nothing to say. I plan on doing more makeup videos as well because I want to recreate some of the old makeup looks that I did, and it would mean a lot if you were to subscribe, because I managed to get over 300 subscribers within the past 2 days, which I think is really cool. And I think it would be really cool if we could build up this small following that we have. I plan on making more real life things, so talking about fascinating people who just interest me, like Kate, or talking about murder mysteries or true crime videos like I did in last video, which you should go check out if you haven't. I'll leave it at the end of this video. But please please subscribe, tell me your thoughts on this lady, because I think she's very fascinating, and I think she's very interesting. And I shall see you probably next week. Who knows? Bye. Meet me in St. Louis, Louis, meet me at the fair. Rum bum bum, don't tell me the lights aren't shining any place but there.